So Amperion makes this kit for the ANT BMS that's specifically for the stock battery of a 23 or 24 stock Ultra Bee battery. They're claiming faster charging, more range, and even more power. So some of you might be wondering, what even is a BMS? It's a battery management system. Now what this does is keeps your cells from going kablamo. This is what's protecting you from fire. It's what's charging your cells properly, balancing them properly. It protects you against overcharging, overheating, and it is kind of like the main processor of your battery's health and performance. Now this is an ANT BMS that you can get on Alibaba or any of those, but what they've done is made a plug and play situation to where you don't really have to get too scientific. You just follow their guide, put this thing in, and now you've got, they're claiming 29 kilowatts out of stock battery. Now that's a lot. I can pull 17 kilowatt currently reliably, 20 kilowatt for a few moments, but if you're on 20 kilowatt, you're going to trip the BMS. That's what I've done countless times now, and maybe you haven't in your experience, but I think it just depends on your setup. There's so much that goes into the bike setup, the weight of the tire, the weight of the rider, and everyone's gonna have a different experience, but I think what this will do is create a lot more opportunity for people to take a stock battery and get a little more juice out of it. So if you watch Joe Will, they've got a great YouTube video that details how to install this thing. They go step by step, and I'm actually going to follow it right now to install it. But I wanted to show you guys, because when I ordered it, they said I was the first one in the US to receive one, or at least order one, and it took about 2 months for it to get here. So it was a little slow, but they told me that was because of their fast charger. Also gonna let you set your charge limits, which I was really interested in, because I always walk away from the battery and wanna just charge to 70% or 80% to store it, and I end up forgetting and it goes to 100. So this you can set a limit to and just charge to 70% so you can store it if you're not gonna ride for a week or two, which I often do. There'll be some time I go without riding. So not only is this gonna be about an hour charge on this thing, you can also set those limits, just a lot more useful. Currently this BMS is just for the 2023, and I think the 2024, I think they're the same. I have a 2023 battery, so I didn't commit it to memory if it was also a 24, but they said they're working on 25 and up, and those are the batteries that are already rated at 21 kilowatts. So I imagine with an ANT BMS, you're gonna get even more out of it. Now the biggest thing that they talk about in their video is that the cells in this battery are rated for higher than the Sur-Ron stock BMS is utilizing it. So your voltage drop off is a little lower, and it's what the cell is actually set to. Now they do this likely to avoid sag. When you get in that lower portion of the battery, everybody knows you start to lose power and stuff. But you know, if you're stranded, it's nice to have a little more extra range, and they're claiming you can get, you know, a third more range. I kind of doubt that, because of what everyone's going to do is up the power, and you're probably going to lose range by upping your power. Personally, I'm really happy at like 20 kilowatt. What I can't do is at some races, if it's a lot of flat out, a lot of wide open, you're going to overheat and you're going to pop the BMS on this stock battery. So for pricing, the BMS itself with no install, they offer an install, but I don't think anyone's going to do that from the US. You're looking at 499 euro, which converts to 582 American Eagles. You can also get it with the charger, which is what I did, and it's 649 euros, which sounds a lot nicer than 756 American Eagles. Now, when I ordered it, there was a shipping cost, so I think it was about 800 and some shekels, but I did have to pay about $130 to USPS for import duties. So they didn't tell me that was going to happen, but I mean, what did I expect? You know the deal. So yeah, first impressions, this thing is 3D printed. I think it could be better. Like, in my opinion, as someone who 3D prints, it's like okay, it's about as good as I could do, but I think if you're going to be buying something like this that's 3D printed, you know, I think the tolerances look good, a lot of the stuff is nice, but I just feel like, you know, with a higher end printer, I feel like you could get a better product here, especially like all of this stuff. In my opinion, I would get a multicolor printer and do it really nice if I was going to be selling these. Although it's going to work, you're never going to see it. It's going to be tucked in here. These are just little notes for you along the way, just to make it easy for the user, you know, because I'm forgetful, I forget numbers, I forget things. So it's on there, which is really nice, so you can't forget. Also, they included this 12 volt power supply that's a step down. They also have a charge port because this charger works with this charging cable that they include that's pretty nice. It's XTC 30s, I believe, on here. It's pretty nice stuff. They even have a TPU like cap for it that seems pretty quality. So that's gonna replace your charge port. That's pretty nice. Also included is the BMS wake up. Normally you'd plug in the power first and the leads are not hot, so you plug in your COM cable. But since you're gonna lose that, you'll have this button instead of the COM ports here, and you'll just turn on the battery on and off, so that way you can safely connect and disconnect power without risk of arcing. Ultimately, this kit is really nice and I'm excited to get it in there, so let's put it in. Let's put it in there. Let's get this thing in the thing. Oh, the other biggest thing for me I wanted to mention about this is the stock BMS hates regen. Especially with the X9000, I've had a lot of problems with the BMS being shut off during regen. Anything more than 5% regen is tripping the BMS, especially at the higher battery levels. Now I know at 100% down to like even 90%, regen is pretty much non-usable. But even in the lower thresholds, if you did 10, 15% regen, you're going to zap that BMS really quickly. So I'm hoping this BMS can handle regen a little bit more, because that's something I really miss. I've kind of got used to more rolling into corners and stuff since I haven't had it on, so maybe I don't want it as much as I had before. But I actually find, especially down a hill, you know, using the regen thumb throttle is gonna help you be a little more consistent on the bike. You know, you're not locking up the rear brake and stuff like that. You're just slowing and resisting that spin on the rear tire. Especially for downhills and stuff. It just makes it feel a little more solid and locked in. You know, you get the app for ANT BMS, which is huge. You can see specs about all of your cells very easily, which you don't get with the stock battery.
Many tools are needed. He really put everything aside. There is...
yes, an Allen key, 2 Torx keys, and with, well, or the bits.
You can even manage with just that.
This install was a breeze. Pretty easy to do and didn't take me very long to get that part done. I had a lot of other things to do to the bike today, so as you can see, it's dark now. I set it to 200 amps on battery amps and it didn't skip a beat. I didn't ride very long, I didn't ride very hard. I just cruised around the yard, make sure everything was working. Why not get an upgraded battery? Well, I just spent about $1,400 on BMSs and maybe a little bit more for the fast charger. And you'd spend well over $3,000 for an upgraded battery. So I'm still almost half the budget. It's definitely way more amp hours. So it is 2 batteries you do have to swap, but honestly, by the time one of these batteries is cooked, so am I. Time to swap it out. And I can go a lot longer on these 2 batteries than I could on a big one. And you're saving the weight. The one gripe I have, I think functionally, there is the BMS button, and that lets you turn the BMS on and off. There's no indication of whether it is on or off, other than that you can turn the bike on. And I suppose that's a decent check. There is a little speaker in there, and you can hear when you press the button when it's on, and you can hear it long beep to turn it off. But in a lot of conditions, even just it being windy out here, I was unable to hear it, even with my ear right up to the case. So I wish there was like a little LED or the display over here would turn off once you turned it off. A big shout out to Joe Will's shop, because I already have this ANT BMS from Amperion. The first one with the charger took months to get here. This took, I think, less than a week. I don't actually know. I mean, it was so quick I didn't even count. I'm gonna swap out this other BMS real quick so that I have 2 batteries for tomorrow's race. Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing, as I'll have an update on this BMS as soon as I'm able to get one out. Hit me in the comments with any questions you may have about this thing, and see you next time.
Oh, why are we stopping?